September 20th, 2022. I'm up here near Monument Peak. I'm about an elevation of 6,150 feet above sea level. And I want to do a short ode video to a very common, widespread, hardy member of our chaparral. And this, folks, is Common Chamise. Adenostoma fasciculatum, variety fasciculatum. So, I did a spotlight video on this in early 2020, right before the big COVID emergency started shutting everything down. And I did that video at near the Blue Jay campground area in Cleveland National Forest, this is Cleveland National Forest, but that is up in OC in the Santa Ana Mountains. But I'm here in the Laguna Mountains, getting quite close to this shrub's elevational limit, and I just want to take some time to appreciate this shrub. So, Common Chamise, small to quite large evergreen shrub in the rose family, the Rosaceae. It is one of the most common shrubs you're going to find, especially in the chaparral environments. So when I'm talking about doing an ode video as opposed to a formal spotlight, is I'm going to take some more time just to appreciate this shrub. Just appreciate different things about it. To a lot of people, it's just another shrub you see while you're hiking in the low elevation chaparral. Yeah, but can we take some time to appreciate what this shrub has to endure and how it often does so much like a champion? I mean, this shrub just tolerates extreme heat, extreme drought, dryness, sometimes quite cold temperatures. I mean, we're here above 6,000 feet in elevation and we get snow here. So this shrub can tolerate quite cold temperatures, very hot temperatures, probably well over 110. Because some of the inland chaparral where it grows gets up to 100 plus degrees in the summertime. And it's just these little needle-like leaves that are bundled in fascicles, hence the name fasciculatum, are just so efficient in conserving water. Their small size, their waxiness prevents excessive water loss. So we gotta appreciate how tough these plants are. They grow in areas that are almost desert, like on the desert side of the mountain sometimes. And then they can grow where sometimes you don't get more than 7-8 inches of rain a year, depending on where they're growing, and they still look like champions. This is one of the hardiest plants you'll come across. Maybe creosote bush. I think creosote bush probably would be a little hardier, only because it tolerates even more dryness than chamise. Chamise likes a little bit more moisture than creosote bush, but let's just take some time to appreciate it. Sometimes they have these very neat rounded habits, and in the springtime this shrub is covered in panicles of white flowers. They're really tiny 5-petal white flowers that on some occasions will cover the entire shrub in a frosty white, and it's just absolutely beautiful. And then they got this tough, rigid, woody structure. Very, very woody shrub. Very upright, often upright. Tough, gray bark, gray shreddy bark. Just, honestly, for a lot of people thinking this is just what your average chaparral shrub, well, it does grow quite often. It's very abundant. But it definitely deserves a look and an appreciation, for it is a native plant that grows in quite inhospitable conditions. right for how high we are in elevation compared to where they normally grow. They're mostly found below 5,500 feet. But I have seen this shrub near Pacifico Mountain at 6,430 feet above sea level. And in the San Jacinto Mountains, I have seen this shrub at 6,700 feet. Far higher than I ever thought I'd ever find this shrub. So, if you want to put this into perspective, we're talking about the San Bernardino National Forest, where I found this in the San Jacintos. Let's take some time to do some perspectives of two very wildly different species of plants that you would never think could potentially be found at the same elevations. Not in the same spot, but at similar elevations. So I'm going to talk about a completely unrelated species of tree that's normally found in the subalpine zones here in Southern California. It's called Sierra lodgepole pine, Pinus contorta subspecies Murrayana, which is normally found above 8,000 feet here in Southern California. However, I have seen lodgepole pine near Big Bear Lake as low as 6,700, 6,800 feet near Big Bear Lake, because it's a cold air area, so cold air drains off the mountains. So the Big Bear Basin gets really cold at night. So lodgepole pine likes those wildly high swings in temperatures, and they love those cold nights. So you'll find lodgepoles down to about 6,008, maybe a little bit lower, near the lake. I've seen them with my own eyes. I've seen them. I know they're there. I've seen them. So I also mentioned about Common Chamise being as high as 6,700 feet in the San Jacinto Mountains. So think about this for a minute. So this is where I'm going to tie chamise into the talk about lodgepole pines. So you want to think about something interesting. I have seen Common Chamise, typically known as a very low elevation plant, down to sea level. I have seen it nearly as high as the lowest lodgepole pines. Obviously not together, because Common Chamise grows at higher elevations. Chamise will be growing on south-facing slopes in barren chaparral, usually. However, I have seen Common Chamise, your low elevation chaparral plant, nearly as high as the lowest lodgepole pines I've ever seen here in Southern California. Think about that. A plant that is normally a subalpine tree, close to the same elevation as the highest Common Chamise I have ever seen. Let's put that into perspective. So next time, hopefully you won't think, oh, it's just this chamise bush that always catches on fire in the Santa Ana winds. Which of course though will generally sprout again from the roots and once again these lovely tall shrubs again. Think about that perspective. Who knows, maybe somewhere there might be a chamise as high as 6,800, 6,900 feet somewhere. And I hope I find it, because I will most certainly be documenting it here on the channel. You know me, I like to document things that are out of the ordinary when it comes to plants that we ordinarily find. So think about that. I have seen this typically low elevation chaparral nearly as high as the lowest Sierra lodgepole pines, the subalpine tree of Southern California. Just had to make a mention of that. Alright, so now I gotta go find my use trail back. So I'm going back next to this Jeffrey pine. I'm going to be heading back down. So that was it. Common Chamise, Adenostoma fasciculatum, variety fasciculatum. I wanted to do this video for a while on a higher elevation population of the chamise, simply because sometimes what you will find with these plants will surprise you. Common Chamise, almost as high as the lowest elevation lodgepole pines. That's something to think about. This humble shrub here, this plant that'll resprout 1,000 times from its roots after fire, and millions of seedlings will come up. Just amazing. Well, that's going to do it for my ode video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on my next ode.